I got a phone call. You got to come to LA. This guy's having a party for influencers. It's 250,000 followers minimum, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't have that. He's like, no, I'll just give you my other Instagram account. So he gives me like his big Instagram page.
Oh I get it. I'm not getting invited to any party in LA.
He brings me this big Instagram page and like, yo, I walk in, there's security. They check your profile, make sure the name matches everything. They scan you in, you go in, and then I was like, oh shit. This was like a Beverly Hills party. Absolutely, you can make fun out of everything.
Everything.
That's what I do. That's what I'm best at.
So tell them a little bit about yourself.
Okay, so my name is Andy Manaras. Some people call me Dre because my name is Andrew. So, which I was named after my grandfather, whose name was Andre. And my brother just started calling me. Sorry?
I said Andre 3000.
Yeah, exactly. Andre 3000.
No way.
We look alike, right?
Yes,
yeah,
so much.
The skin tone for sure. Yeah. So my brother just started calling me Dre, and that popped off. And I have like kind of like, there's like two versions of me. There's the internet car version, which is Dre. And then there's like me and my business people and my friends, and that's Andy for the most part. So internet.
So what do we call you?
You call me whatever you want to call me. You can call me Andy, Dre, asshole, whatever works. Whatever works. Like it doesn't really matter.
Straight to asshole.
Straight to asshole. Let's do it.
So how did you, I mean, tell us a little bit about, you know, what you do right now. So you have your car side of your business, and then you also have you. So personally, what do you work on when you're not working on your passion, which would be more the car stuff, right?
Yeah. So the cars is...
The car stuff.
The car stuff, well, that's what I call it. It's technically like not a business. I don't really make money from car stuff. But I built that Instagram page from like 0 to 100K in probably a year and a half.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, and because I didn't like posting my cars on my personal page. I was in business and I didn't want to be cocky. So, but I really do have like a passion for the cars. So I just started a new page. And I knew that I could build a network and actually find really good people to potentially work with. Like the network I've built just through that car page and the people I've met are some of my best friends today. And the greatest opportunities have come just through that, just through Instagram. Like, also, I'm driving like more supercars, exotic cars, and a lot of the people who drive those cars are quite successful. And I spend most of my time in California, and the people that I've met through that, there are people in the film industry, the business industry, this and that. They're all they're older than me, and they've got money, but they kind of lack that cool factor. So when I tell them what I do, and we're sitting at a table or whatever,
so you think you're cool.
Yeah.
They think I'm cool. I don't think I'm cool. But they always want to work with me. They always want to hang out. They always want to do something. Yeah. Sometimes, like, you never know if they want you just for your money and they can fucking squeeze everything out of you. Sometimes, you know, like, you can't tell if they like you or not. So I've gotten pretty good at reading people right off the bat. So whether it's business people or women or anything, like, I can read you within 2 minutes and know exactly what's going on.
I don't remember where I read this, but I was like, if you want to get to know somebody that you might work with, you want to get them drunk. Is that a thing? I've literally heard it and I read it. I can't remember in what book it's in, but a lot of people say that because they're like, somebody's true qualities really come out. So a lot of people tend to like bring you to a meeting, get you drunk, like purposely to just like kind of see how you're
I don't know how many business opportunities I'm gonna get if you get me wasted at a meeting. You're gonna find me twerking on the bar. They're gonna go.
I think like a 3 or 4 drink buzz and a shot is like the right.
He has the recipe.
It's the right place.
The truth serum.
Yeah. So I used to drink like crazy, like every night of the week, getting drunk. Not even just 1 or 2 drinks. I stopped that in like 2016 or 17. I can't remember. But before that, it was party all the time. Like, you know, get a successful business account. Let's go out and celebrate for 3 days and just spend all the money that we're going to make next year from that business. Right. So it didn't make sense, but it was fun.
Drinking in general is such like hey, like, what are you doing with your life? If you're drinking all the time and you're just like still in that party zone, I feel like that's how I even like outgrew so many people. Like just by like being around people who just like always want to have a good time and never want to like actually like, they don't have like a vision for themselves in the future.
It just gets repetitive.
It just gets repetitive and it's like.
That's why I stopped. I had my, one of my best friends he was marrying my cousin, and we went out for his bachelor party in Arizona, and things got out of hand. And I came back from that bachelor party and I was like, nah, we can't do this anymore. So literally that was like a Sunday when we flew home. The Monday, just
cold turkey,
done, all of it. Back to the gym, diet, didn't drink for like I didn't have a sip for like a year. Just wanted to focus. We started deciding that we're going to sell our business around that time also. And when I say we, it's me and my brother. We work mostly together on everything. And yeah, that was like, I asked myself, I was like, what are you doing? Like, you feel like shit. You just spent $50K on champagne for no reason.
Right.
You didn't even take anyone home. So why? What's the point? You didn't even have fun. So like, what? And you don't even remember it because it was all blackout.
So what he's saying, guys, is if he would have took somebody home,
it might have been worth it. But I didn't. Yeah. But no, I just felt so shitty, and I kind of like hated myself. I was like, what are you doing with your life? Like, yeah, you're working, you're making money, but like, you're clearly not happy, because if you were happy, you wouldn't have to poison yourself every single night or at every opportunity.
And do you feel like, after you made that switch, kind of like the people around you and your whole lifestyle changed in the terms of like the people you hung out with, and you know, like, did you kind of have to get rid of those people and just find new people to surround yourself with? Yeah,
and by new people I meant no one. So it was pretty much lonely for a while, but the loneliness I needed.
Yeah, you worked on yourself in that time.
I worked on myself. I was doing my thing. I was staying home. I was just clearing out all the toxicity inside me and thinking a lot. Like, what are we going to do? What do you want to do with your life? Like, where do you want to be? Like, I always say, like, pretend you have $10 billion in your bank account. What are you going to do during the day to keep yourself busy? Like, you can't stay on a yacht every single day or fly private or like live the fancy life. Like, you don't have to, but I have to do something. I want to do something that I'm proud of, that I love. And then things evolved, and I said,
we live one fucking life. So if we're not doing something we love, enjoy, and like trying to find our purpose in life, then why the hell are we here?
You don't want to like dread your Mondays and then be so excited for Friday so that you can just finally let loose. And I don't blame the people that do that. I did that too. Because when you're working that 9 to 5, you're fucking stuck. Like, you're same routine over and over, same people, this, that. So fucking Friday comes, let's get fucked up. Let's go insane. Because we need to let loose in some way. But I found that the right way to live is to be able to let loose anytime you want, at any, like, it could be 10 a.m. It doesn't have to be alcohol related. It's just like, you should always feel good. How can I live a life where I am like high 24/7 by being sober? I'm not sober today. Like, I have drinks and stuff like that. But the clarity I needed for a year or two it did me really well.
I think a lot of people get caught up in, like, they get a little taste of kind of success, and then they get caught up in this, you know, kind of rabbit hole of like proving that they're successful, spending money and partying. And I feel like
most of these people probably have $0 to their name because they're spending it on like everything for people to see, like car and all this shit, and then in the end, or what? Like, they're
100%. Like, I've had people. I have people ask me for money on Instagram probably like 5-10 times a week for the last 8 years, and some of them I follow and I look at what they're doing and I'm just like, absolutely not. It was like, one, you're at Starbucks every morning, so you're rich clearly because you can afford a $10 coffee every morning. You're wearing Yeezys. You got an iPhone and fucking 12 Max super big. You know, like, you have all this shit. You're at the club, like, but you don't have money. No, you're spending it for clout and to be cool to the boys, you know, and to pick up a girl who doesn't give a fuck about you. She's just there to have a great time with her friends, have some fucking drinks. She wants nothing to do with your loser ass. She probably wants a dude who's not at the club 24/7.
Yeah, 100%.
I think the problem, 100%. I think the problem with these people is that their motivation is to make money, to prove to people that they're making money. And I think that's like, I don't know if you have like insight on this, but I feel like, you know, do you feel like the motivation for why you're going to make money differentiates how you're going to succeed or not? Like, when people come to you asking for stuff, but they're like, you know, like, you can tell that their intentions are not like to be successful. It's really like they want to make that money.
They want to make money and live the dream.
Exactly. But nobody's willing to put in that work.
No,
so
and it's...
What would differentiate like someone from succeeding and being successful to somebody who just, you know, likes the idea of being successful?
Like it goes back to that question that I ask myself and I ask people. If you have $10 billion in your bank account, what are you going to do? The ones who have no clue what they would do, they just want money to play and show. Whereas if I answer that question today, it's like, I'm going to be doing pretty much the same exact thing I'm doing as today. Like, not much is going to change. Yeah, maybe I'll have crazier cars or a bigger house, but the things I'm doing daily are basically the same. I got rid of like a massive salary and all kinds of benefits and crazy shit to get one payout that I cannot survive with for the rest of my life. I have to put that into action if I want to live the life I want to live. I took that risk, but for me, I didn't care about money. I cared about being able to live a life doing what I want to do. And that's what I'm currently doing. I'm a huge nerd. I love film. I love TV shows. I'm pursuing that. And that's what I've been working on in Hollywood, and things are going well. It's the most I can say for that topic right now. The power of investing in businesses. When I invested in my first business and then it sold a couple years later, I made a lot of money there.
Can you say what it was, what you invested in?
So here, I'll start here. When I was 22, so my dad passed away. My dad had a small business and manufacturing doors or motors that lift up garage doors. Okay. And it was cool. You know, I grew up more fortunate than some, less fortunate than some, right in the middle. And that was it. So my dad passed away and I was in music. Like we were actually starting to really, really get up there, and we had planned a tour, my brother and I, and everything. And
no way.
We were starting to talk to record labels, and then that dream died because we got the call, and I was like, okay, interesting. We have this business, we have stuff, and then there's money, finances, debt. Are you going to take? Are you going to lose? Were you ever
involved in business before this kind of fell into your lap, or it was
I was working. I was working sometimes for my dad, but I told him like I don't want anything to fucking do with this business. I don't give a shit. Like,
right.
Sell it, do whatever you want. I'm gonna make music and I'm gonna be a fucking rock star. And I swear that's probably what I would have been doing right now if that hadn't happened. But it doesn't matter. Took over the business, knew nothing. I did not go to school. I went to CJEP, which is like pre-college for about 15 minutes, and then looked at everyone who was
and
so
then the
studious.
Bell rang and you said never mind.
No, bell didn't ring. I like looked at people with their like books and stuff. I was like, oh, they have books, crazy. Yeah. I'm out of here. I'm never doing this again. And I left. I was a rebel in high school. I never did well. I'm not a stupid person. I was just like, if I'm not interested in learning whatever they're teaching, then I'm not going to pay attention.
Yeah, that's it. Like a lot of parents and everyone, they want their kids to go to school. They think that that's like the normal way. That's the way they know. Like, let me give my kid an education. But like, I feel like nowadays there's just so many ways to make money. There's so many, like your passion doesn't necessarily have to involve going to college,
there's so
going
many
to
other
university.
options.
And I just think like we live in a world where like it's changing.
Yeah.
I think that's great.
Yeah, there's so much you can do right now. Like, 30 years ago, even 20 years ago, there was not. You had to go to university to get a good job and whatever. But like, everyone is going to university these days. So the university students, they're working like 40K jobs until they're like 38, 40 years old. Like,
yeah. I think what's different, like what's crazy now is that everyone goes to university. And I think it's very popular in the US, like how it's like almost... I think Canada is a bit different where people are a little bit more lenient. It's not as pushed upon to go to university. But, in the US, it's very, very like everyone goes to university after, and it's super expensive. And you come out of university and it's almost
with
like...
all kinds of debt.
But it just, you
spend their whole life trying to pay off the debt.
You come out with all kinds of debt and nothing differentiates you from another person. You come out at 24 or whatever age that, you end up graduating and you're at zero. You haven't learned anything about the skill that you're going to do. Okay. You start at the bottom.
You're at zero. You haven't learned
anything. No, you're at less than zero because you have debt.
It's true. Yeah. You start at less than zero and you have no experience. So it's kind of, we've come to a point in society where having a university degree doesn't make you better than somebody else. It's almost like you're at the same level ground as everyone else. You know what I mean? 100%. Like you're both starting at the same point. So it's kind of weird how the world has changed. And I think it's a perfect example. You who are, you're so successful now and you've done so much and you don't even have, the degree. And it's like, it's cool to see what you can do without something and that it doesn't take a degree to make somebody successful.
Yeah, 100%. And I took over my dad's company. I grew it and I did everything and everyone was just like, it must have been super, it's super easy if you had something to start with.
Yeah.
And I'm like, yes, it is easier. But if they knew the whole story, which nobody does because I don't talk about it, then they'd be like, oh, fuck. Like, what I should have done was left it there and gone and done my own thing. Because, yes, you take a business, but you don't know what's in that business. You don't know how much debt there is, what the lines of credit are, how much the banks are up your ass. You don't know, like, Like my dad, well, he was a cool guy. He was great. Everyone loved him. He was kind of personality like me, but you don't know what was going on behind the scenes. And that's the story nobody knows.
Yeah.
And if they want to shit on me for that, that's great. But I don't care. It's like people praise Gary Vaynerchuk. Do you know him?
Yeah.
No. So he's like a huge, like motivational business guy, whatever. But he didn't start from nothing. He took over his parents' business, but he took it to the next level. And then that gave him the opportunity to make money and to invest in other things. And that's where he is today. So it's about what you can do with it.
Right. Do you feel like anybody's ever been like, oh, well, Andy, you had it good. Like, you had it easy.
Oh, yeah,
like,
100%. I'm just like,
but I think that, you know, first of all, having money doesn't make you successful. No. And getting a business doesn't make it a good business, no matter what it is. And I think the biggest thing that people, you know, choose not to look at is the fact that you took this business, you grew it, you sold it, you moved on, you progressively went up. You didn't say, oh, look at me, I'm set, I have this business. And I think that's what differentiates you. If you would be sitting on that business today and just chilling, then it would be like, oh, you know, this business got handed to you. But you know, you've moved past it, you've gone bigger, you've done bigger. And I think that for you to get hated on, and like it's a comment that I really wanted to bring up, because I feel like people always, you know, looking at your YouTube videos, people always bring up that comment.
Of course.
Oh, well, you know, he started rich, or he started this. And it's like, okay, but really the idea behind it has nothing to do with money. It has to do with drive, it has to do with motivation.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So like the minute I took over that business, like, well, first someone had to teach me how to read all those financials and everything. I didn't know anything.
Right.
But the first thing I realized was that a lot of things did not make sense here, and that this could not support me, my brother, my mother. This model did not work. So it was either we change it or we're all going to have to sell everything we own and move in the street somewhere. So I said, fuck it. Let's just do it. And I made a 5-year plan of growth, and it wasn't necessarily to grow sales, it was to grow profits. There was like no profits. So there were sales and salaries, but there was like no profits. The company without profits, your company is not worth any money, right? So just grinded. First I went on the road, made sure all our clients were taken care of, and that they knew that they were going to get everything and everything was going to be okay. Then I flew all over the world, visiting like manufacturing places, and to see how people did things in Europe and how they did things in China. And every time I'd come back from a business trip, which was once a week, I would apply things I learned to that business in the warehouse, in the front office. So I did that for a couple of years. Then we grew too fast, too quick. Too fast, too big, too quickly, whatever. So then we took a break and stayed home for a year at our office and redid the entire infrastructure so that we can be able to handle the sales that we were getting. So things were going well when we started doing that. That's when we invested in one of my customers' companies. And then when that company sold a couple of years later, I was like, this is the way. We need to invest in other businesses with good people. So we invested in other businesses with not they weren't bad people, but they weren't experienced people. Big mistake. But I learned from it, and that's okay. And now I'm investing, and I was investing too much money with people that didn't ever do anything in business. Now I'm investing less money, more times with people who are experienced.
Okay.
So for me, it wasn't I was taking the risk back then. I was like, let's say I put $100 into this company. It's going to make me fucking 10,000 in 3 years. No. Now I'm putting $20 in a business. It'll make me 500. Great.
Yeah.
In a few years. And that's it. I'd rather put
less
all over the place, because if just one pops, you kill it.
Yeah.
Right.
All it takes is one.
Too much in one and then it flops, then you lose everything.
So yeah, that's when I started doing that. And then I had my business, decided to sell my business that I took over from my dad, got rid of that, and got rid of all the migraines and stress involved with it. And that was the best. Then I retired.
I retired too when COVID,
oh my God.
When COVID said the clubs are closed.
Yeah, you're retired.
I'm retired now. I'm a retired waitress.
Yeah. So
retired at 29. I mean, that's not so bad.
It's not bad at all. But yeah, so it took me like a year to kind of get my groove and figure out exactly what I wanted to do, and that's the path I'm on right now. That was like a year and a half ago, 2 years ago, and now we're here. I'm investing in businesses. I'm working.
What do you
in the
look
industry.
for, like when you're investing in a company? What are like the top 3 things, like if somebody wants to approach you, what do you look for?
Well, first, what have you done before?
Okay.
Why should I invest with you? First question.
Okay.
That eliminates everyone who's on their first trial of a business. And not to like shit on them or anything. Like we've all been there, like trying to come up with businesses, ideas, and do stuff. But like, I'm at a point where I'm not going to risk my money with someone who's not experienced. It's
for sure.
It's just not
like
smart.
Almost any investor.
Exactly.
Yeah.
It's like at that point when you're starting a startup or whatever, it's like, okay, do the hustle work, do what you got to do, work your job to make money, work on your side business,
Right.
you know, after work, throughout the night, you know,
Yeah.
do what you got to do, get some sales, do something. Maybe the bank, like if you're bringing in a little bit of sales, doesn't have to be huge. Maybe the bank will give you some money. If the bank is willing to give you money, maybe I will. So that's what I tell them.
Right.
Yeah.
Do enough that the bank can give you a loan.
Okay.
And if the bank is willing to, maybe someone else will also. But now I do it at a bit of a higher level. Companies going for like a Series A round or whatever. But what I ask people, or what I look for to answer your question.
What does Series A mean?
Yeah.
So
That's
when,
my question.
like,
Hadia, I think you think we're investors with
let's
you
say,
here.
like Facebook
What's
or whatever.
$1 million?
So when Facebook needed money, like in order to grow, you need to spend money on,
Right.
you know, marketing, on people, on team to build your stuff and everything. So you need to hire and spend money. But startups don't usually make money. So you have to convince someone that your idea is awesome and that it's gonna...
that people should invest.
Yeah. So first there's angel investments. So those are like your friends or family or close people who want to help and support. So you'll get a couple $1,000 for angel. You'll never get like $100,000. It's very rare, but whatever, it helps. And then once you start getting bigger, like when Facebook started, like, I don't know, 08, it was 07, I don't know what year it was.
Something like that.
The reason people invested with them is because one, Mark Zuckerberg was like a genius with his laptop and everything, whatever. But also he had every person from all the big universities that was on this. So it was like a huge community. It was thousands and thousands of people. And people equal dollar signs later on down the line. So that's how they got their investment. And then a Series A is like your first big one. It's like a firm or a beast or like these big entrepreneur and investors want to come in and give you $5 million.
Okay.
And it's like, oh shit, we just went there. Now they gave us 5 million, but now we're worth like 10.
Right.
And then you use that 5 million to really build yourself up.
Okay.
And then you go for the second round.
Okay.
Now you've spent this money wisely. You need more money. Now you get $15-20 million, and then later on you get $80-100 million investment. So it's like the bigger you get, the bigger the rounds of investment are, the more people get involved, and then you become public.
Okay.
And then when you're public, you can invest, I can invest.
That's when you become like you have a
Right.
stock,
Yeah,
essentially.
exactly.
Okay.
So I go into like, now I'm doing like in the like
The basics.
the
We're
first,
doing the
the
basics.
first round. Not I'm doing over the angel round, but under the big stuff. And I think that's a sweet spot for what I can afford. I'm not like a zillionaire. I'm okay, but like I'm not fucking rich.
Yeah. Do you feel like, I guess, I don't know if this is like a weird question to ask, but do you feel like you need a substantial amount of money to get into investing?
So no, technically, people have put $1,000 into a company and cashed out $100,000 a couple of years later. So
I mean, let me know.
yeah, let
what
me know
that
too. I'm
is.
trying to find those opportunities.
Slide in my DMs if you have one of those.
Yeah. So like, technically no, but
Okay.
people, it's something people ask me all the time. Like, okay, I have $5,000. What can I do with it?
Right. And I was gonna ask you that actually.
And
I
then I
was
have
like,
$10,000.
okay, what about
What can I do
200?
with it? And I'm just like, fuck. It's a hard question to answer because like I'm not going to tell you to put something in a domain that I'm aware of.
Right.
Like I study certain things and
Right.
certain industries and whatever, and I know them by heart. So I'm not going to tell you to put your money into something that you have no clue.
For sure.
I'm doing it because I've done years of research.
Yeah.
So yeah, I convince
And then you
people.
kind of like feel responsible. if it
Exactly.
goes
Like
bad.
I don't want anything
That's a
to do
lot.
with that.
A lot of people don't, you don't want to
Yeah.
give somebody the wrong information. They're like, I just lost, $10,000 and that's because of you. You know what I mean?
Exactly. And so like I invest in things in companies like that I think are good. I look for like what I'm currently looking for are companies that are environmentally friendly, wellness, consciousness, anything that's good for you or good for the planet or good for people. That's like the first thing that I look into.
Okay.
It's not that I'm only investing in those things, but that's what turns me on. That's what like gets me going is because I've changed myself a lot over the years and
you want it to align with
I
who you are,
want
for
I want
sure.
everything I do to align with my core values.
For sure.
But like, look, if you asked me 3 years ago, there's an amazing tequila company, it's starting, like we got good partners, I'd be like, fuck no, alcohol is poison, people get drunk, they don't improve their lives. No. Today, I'm like, you know what, look, people get drunk, there's a reason they get drunk, they're not happy, it's not their fucking fault, or they just want to party, whatever. I like to go to a restaurant and have a drink. Like I drove an hour to go up north the other day because the restaurants are closed here. I thought you were gonna
say to come here. I'm like, I'm so sorry.
No. Like last week, I went to Gibby's in Saint Sauveur. I don't really drink, and I was just so excited to just have a Negroni.
For sure.
It was just nice. Have it. It's good.
There's a difference between drinking and like enjoying yourself.
Drinking to
and blacking out every day.
About things. Like I feel like a lot of people drink to forget and to almost like to escape reality. You know.
Yeah. And I used to do it too. But
I think when you're happy with yourself, you're just like, you don't feel the need to escape.
Exactly. And I just love waking up sober. It's amazing to wake up and like not want to die.
And let me tell you, the older you get, when you wake up hungover, it's not like when I was 20 anymore and the next day I wake up and I'm good to go.
Pass me the Advils and babe, go to the dep and get me a Gatorade.
And also I'll have to take a week off work, please. Like,
oh, 100%. It's absolutely horrible. But look, now today, if you ask me, there's a great tequila company to invest in. It's not what I would like to do, and I probably won't promote that.
Right.
But if you're telling me I can make a fucking $1 million,
yeah, and it makes sense,
I'll do it.
Yeah. But usually you say that you go more towards stuff that's your passion, that goes with your values. And I guess for anyone, you know, you want to do something that makes you happy. And if it's investing, you want to find things that invest.
Or go into what you know. If you don't have a passion, because there's a lot of people who don't know what their passions are, go into what you know or what you're good at. Like, I don't study stocks. I don't study real estate market. Like, I could easily do both, but it's not what I know, so I'm not going to go in and put money into it if I have no clue what it's all about.
Right.
There are other people who love stocks and they watch it all day long. I'm like, then go on that. Doesn't matter if it's your passion or not, but like, if you study it and it's what you do in the morning and it means you enjoy it, you like the thrill of it, so go into that. It's risky, but whatever. Crypto. We've done crypto, but like that's super risky.
What's crypto?
Crypto,
like
Bitcoin
and stuff.
Okay.
Yeah, so Bitcoin and stuff like that. I know a lot of people who made a lot of money with that, but it's like I don't really know it.
I lost money.
You've invested in Smoke Show.
Yes.
Okay, that
was one of my first.
Okay,
what do you mean? You invested in me?
Oh, damn right.
I just thought of that, I swear. I love hot sauce. Smoke Show is a hot sauce brand.
Yeah, Smoke Show is
Sell us.
Smoke Show is a hot sauce. It started off as a hot sauce company. So a good friend of mine, Dave Rose, who I've known a long time, one time I just saw like on Instagram and I saw like all the boys talking about like this sauce that he had just made. He made this hot sauce at a party once. That's it. And it was good. And one of his friends was like, I think you should like bring it to a restaurant to see if they would buy it. Like try that out. I think he was working at Joe Beef at the time, and I think they tried it, or one of those cool restaurants tried it, and then he called it Smoke Show, put a logo on it, and people loved it because it was a different kind of thing. It was hot sauce, but it was green. It was in a fancier, trendier bottle. It was sweet. It had maple syrup in it. It was smoky. So it wasn't your typical thing. It was not to make things hot, but it also made things taste better, which is nice.
Right. And did he confront you?
No.
And was like,
no. I saw what he was doing, and my big visions at the time, I was like, Dave, this is the Red Bull of hot sauce. Like, this is not just food. This is a community. This is a brand. This is fucking extreme sports. It's whatever you want it to be. This has so much potential. Let's fucking go. And we went. We decided to go for it. That was a couple of years ago. Things are going well. They were slow to start. We had problems and this and that, like any new company does. But yeah, that company I'm really happy with. Things are not going as quickly as I would loved. But we were all learning on the way.
Okay.
And I just had a meeting.
That was one of your first investments?
Yeah.
Okay.
Awesome.
And yeah, it's like we went from one product to like now like 6-7 products, probably by the end of in a year from now 10-15 products. Hiring
Has COVID
people.
made it slower, like the process slower?
COVID made it better.
COVID
made everything better.
More chefs in
for
the
that
kitchens.
Company. Bad for the restaurants, but we don't really make good money off the restaurants. The restaurants,
you're selling it at wholesale, right?
Yeah, and so the restaurants give us great branding and clout.
Right, like it's at Mandy's and all the
like
places
so many people
where
know it from
I
Mandy's.
Noticed it.
Yeah, so the restaurants are good for that. Well, they make us a little bit of money, but you know, like the restaurant industry is a mess. People pay late, this and that, all bullshit. online, you sell it for as much as you want to sell it. It all goes to you.
Yeah.
And it's very easy to market online if you figure out the formula.
Yeah.
So we're trying to figure out that formula, and we're like, I looked the other day, I had a meeting with them, and like we were up 3,000% from last year,
Awesome.
which is a huge number.
Yeah.
And it's only going to get bigger. And same thing with that company. Like in a few years, if it gets to where I want to get it, we will sell because everyone wants a big payout. But if it's doing so well where we're all making tons of money from it, we don't have to sell.
Right.
But
you're like not in a rush, or you're not
exactly.
Like,
there's no
forced.
rush or anything. Like the good thing with that company is that we will probably actually go get investment, not from me, from other people, to really take it to the next level. Because I'm already an investor, and it'd be great. Like I like to have people on my teams that bring value, not just money, but experience, people, network, value, anything that they can bring to the table besides for the money is what I look for. So if anyone's looking,
you want to get into South
slide in
business.
There. Yeah. So that's Smoke Show, and it's a great company. I love the food, I love the product, and it's crazy because like it's not just like tough guy dudes who like it. It's like girly girls who love the sauce and everything. So
no, I've tried it. It's very good.
Thank you.
It's very good.
I didn't try it, but I believe you. I love
you
hot
will.
sauce.
I'll send you a case.
I want to get a little bit more into the funner stuff. You're like, what do you mean? This is amazingly fun. But I just want to talk a little bit about I don't really know your journey and how you traveled and how you kind of moved to California, how you spent some time there, and just what's that like? Because I know you grew up in a small town, right?
Yeah, I grew up in Dollard/Hudson.
Yeah.
Spent my teen years near the horses and the farms.
Yeah, I grew up in Hudson as well. So I feel
really?
like I actually grew up in Salem.
Well, guys, we're all learning new things.
Yeah.
So I just wanted to bring up like that small town syndrome, like where you just look at everybody around you and you're like, and these people just believe that that's all the world has to offer. And it's like, it's hard to some people are just born with it, where I feel like myself, I just was born and I was born and I was amazing. No, but I mean, like, I just like grew up and it was like, I don't want to ever, like, I don't want to stay here. But then the people around me were just like, oh, I want to buy a house down the block and start a family and stay here and
marry the girl next door
and send my kids to the school that I went to. And I'm like, how do you feel like, how did you get away from that? How did you just like, move on and do all these great things? And then, you know what I mean? Like you have those friends that are still there and you're just like, oh, what are you doing?
So I've always been a dreamer ever since I'm a little kid. Watching things on TV and stuff like that. I never even knew what fucking California or anything was. And when I was young, I was like, I'm going to live in California when I'm older. It looks beautiful.
Do you live there now?
No, I don't live there officially.
Okay.
Maybe in a year or two. But yeah. So like when I was little, I was just like, why would anyone live in winter? It wasn't about even small town or downtown. It was like, why would anyone choose to live when it's minus 30 6 months of the year? That's absurd.
Yeah.
So it never made sense to me to begin with. Living in Hudson out in the country, it was nice. It was fun. We had our community, our friends, the local bars, we were rock stars over there. But no, that was never for me.
Yeah.
Like I was always more of a city guy or just like, I wanted to feel alive. You don't feel alive when you see everyone doing the same thing every day, fucking the same people every day, like it's just, get me out of that. Like, get me as far away from everyone I know as possible. And even when I was living downtown, it was like that. I was just like, get me out of Montreal.
Yeah.
And then one time I got invited to a party. Well, I'd been to LA in 2012. I went to visit a customer and he was a little bit older than me. I'd never been to California and I flew with my brother. And from the moment we landed, I was like, yo, this place is fucking sick. And then we met my customer / good friend now. We met him out for dinner. I thought it was going to be a meeting and everything. We land. He's like, no, we're not talking business today. It was like him and his boys and his girlfriend. Yeah, his girlfriend. And who's now his wife.
Sketch.
No.
I was like, are they
it wasn't his wife at the time.
He's like,
now
no,
it's his
second
wife.
girlfriend.
No, but it was his girlfriend there. And he's like, yeah, there's a new club opening up in Hollywood tonight. So we're going to have dinner here at this swanky place. And then we're going to go to the club. I was like,
you're like,
fuck
yeah.
Yeah, it was like 2012. That was like the height of my party. So we met and I'm just like, hey, nice to meet you and whatever. Then
I'm sure it didn't go like that at the club.
Having drinks, this and that. Between dinner and the club, yo, let's smoke some weed. Let's take Uber. It was 2012. I was like, what the fuck is Uber? They're like, he's like, just do this. And then the car comes. I'm like, a stranger? He's like, yeah, it's crazy, right? I was like, yo, call this fucking robot guy. So the guy comes, he's like, what's up, guys? I was like, and he's like, okay, I'll take you to the club. I was like, we didn't even tell him. He's like, no, it's on the
Canadian.
app.
Oh my God.
The lost Canadian in the world of Hollywood.
Yeah.
Who are you?
So we went to the club and then we just got fucking annihilated. This, that, blah, blah, blah. The next day we were supposed to have a meeting, but everyone was hungover. So we met for lunch and I was like, yo, what's up, man? I was like, that was a crazy night. He's like, yeah, it was a Honda Civic night. I was like, what? He's like, yeah, we spent a Honda Civic. I was like, oh shit. I was like, you did. I didn't. I didn't do shit. So it was like, that's the first time I discovered LA and LA nightlife. And I was like, this is cool. Mm-hmm. And then we just walked around like Santa Monica and by the pier and the beach. I was like, it's so beautiful here. What the hell? Why am I not here more often? This. Yeah.
We have orange cones.
Yeah, many orange cones. And then that was it. So then I started going every couple months, 2-3 days here, have a meeting, just chill, relax, go explore. And then in 2016, I got invited to a party because I was doing this influencer stuff. Like before, everyone was doing like the motivational quotes and the content. Like nobody was doing that in like 2014, 2015. I was like the only one in Montreal who was doing that stuff. I had like literally a crew following me around once a week, making video content, photo content, quotes, doing everything to put on Instagram. And I grew from like, I don't know, a couple thousand followers to like 60,000 in like a couple months.
Okay.
And it was like,
you want to send me that guy?
Yeah.
it was literally just, it was just because nobody else was doing it.
Yeah,
So-
it was the right time. It was the right thing at the right
So
time.
when
So he was handling your Instagram basically?
No, I was handling Instagram and everything.
Okay.
They were just creating the content.
Okay.
I was like, yo, I got a meeting here. Come to the meeting. There's like 3 camera guys coming to the meeting with lights like this. The people are like, what the fuck? But it was fun. But then it became too much work because I was like, my business that I was running back then was in turmoil. Like we had to fire like almost all of our very experienced staff for shit that was going down. The banks were up our asses. Like, are you crazy? You just got rid of like your entire company. Who are you going to hire? And I was like, I hired my best friends. It's the only people I knew who I could hire who didn't know anything about the business. It was complete chaos. Plus I was doing like filming and mentoring and content. I deleted that Instagram account. I was like, no, fuck that. I got to like focus on the real life right now. So I did that and I never reactivated that account, just started another one. But anyway, while I had that account, I met some great people. And I got a phone call. You got to come to LA. This guy's having a party for influencers. It's 250,000 followers minimum, blah, blah, blah. I was like, I don't have that. He's like, no, I'll just give you my other Instagram account. So he gives me like his big Instagram page.
Oh
I get it. I'm not getting invited to any party in LA.
He brings me this big Instagram page and like, yo, I walk in, there's security. They check your profile, make sure the name matches everything. They scan you in. You go in and then I was like, oh shit. This was like a Beverly Hills party. I don't know if you know the guy. His name was Ty Lopez. He's like a guy, you would see him on YouTube ads a couple of years ago. Like there'd be books everywhere. It'd be like, this is my Lamborghini. And these are all the books I read that got me to buy this Lamborghini. Like,
I feel like I know.
Super cheesy. Everyone hates this guy. Anyway, he was hosting a party. I was like, fuck it. I'll just go meet people. Mm-hmm. And when I got to this party, it was the first time that I saw this whole other world of like influencers and YouTubers and Instagrammers and whatever. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, these people are making a lot of money and they're just having a good time. Mm-hmm. They're not working corporate. They're out here in fucking LA making it happen. And I was like, this is cool.
That was like the eye-opening.
It just opened my eyes to a non-corporate world that I was stuck in, that I wanted to get out of, that I didn't even know I wanted to get out of until I saw that.
Right.
So I met people there. We had a good time with some girls. I met some boys. Like some of the guys that I met at that party are guys that I'm dear friends with today. Mm-hmm. From the first time I actually like partied with non-business people in LA. And after that, I was having trouble with my ex and I just needed some time alone. So I took a month off. I was like, sorry.
Okay, so when you were traveling and all this, you still had a girlfriend?
Yeah.
Okay.
So I had a girlfriend for like 3 years. And then things were going well. Like I was building my house and spending like way too much money. Like I was bleeding money. My business was like going from being in a super high was going low. So I was just like in the worst state of mind. I was in the worst place. I was stressing at work, which was stressing my relationship. And that wasn't fun anymore. So I was like, I need to get the fuck out of here.
Right.
Fuck this house, fuck this business, fuck my girlfriend. Like she was really great though. Like I can't say anything, but in my head, I was so stressed.
Right.
So I was like, I got to get the fuck. I need to be alone in my thoughts. So I said, I'm going to LA.
What a better place to be alone in your
I
thoughts.
rented a mansion in the Hollywood Hills. I was one little guy in this huge house overlooking all the hills, infinity
Wow, if I
pool.
was his ex-girlfriend, I'd be like, that fucking thing.
Oh, she did.
Leaves me and goes to fucking LA and rents a mansion. Who's like, fuck does he think he
I need
is?
to be alone.
Yeah, and honestly, like it wasn't
huge
to
mansion.
talk to girls, to fuck girls. Like I didn't
It
even
was-
give a shit if
yeah.
I even saw a girl.
Right.
It wasn't about that. It was like I just
was
needed
grind.
to decompress. So we did that. I rented that place, hung out with like the friends that I had met in LA the month before. It's like, yo, let's meet up, let's hang out. So that was like, and then I was like, had my own morning routine there. I was like, okay, let's go discover Beverly Hills. Let's go see Hollywood. Let's go to Malibu. It was like, I was really just learning. And I literally did that. Like I stayed there the month, came back home. And then after that, I was like, I'm never spending winter in Montreal again. So this was like 2016. Never spent a winter in Montreal probably until now. Because
But
we're
now are
stuck
you
here.
doing business in California? Or?
So I wasn't for a long time. And then now I am. Now it's like where I want to be, where I need to be. Up like I was there from January 2020 till March 2020, and then
Okay.
we came home for COVID. But in those 3
Sounds like a celebration.
I know.
We came home for COVID.
Yeah, we came home for the war. We came to fight. But up until then, I was shopping for a house. I'd been shopping for a house for like a couple months.
And look at that, you're still shopping for a house.
And now I'm shopping for a house here. And I like literally last week, I was just like, I'm not shopping for houses anymore. I don't even give a fuck. I'm homeless and proud of it. Like, I don't need
yeah, it's
this
easier
stress.
to just like
Things
pick
are
up and move.
Exactly. Things are so volatile right now. So I'm just going with the flow. But yeah, actually, it was funny enough. Like, I went to visit a house and I was with my brother and we were looking. And then I saw later on, like, someone I was looking at someone's Instagram stories and I'm just scrolling and I'm like, she's watching a TV show. And I'm like, that girl was my real estate agent. So she was watching Selling Sunset and the girl on Selling Sunset was my real estate agent.
What?
Which I thought was
which one?
Mary.
I watched
Mary Fitzgerald.
What?
I love Selling Sunset.
Yeah.
Have you watched it?
Yeah.
I've never
'cause
watched it. I didn't
I
even
was
know it was
always
out.
telling her to
Really
watch
good.
it. It's actually so good. I
That's what
remember
I hear.
watching it when it first came out, and I was like, "Wow, like nobody knows about this
But
show."
you're a
'cause-
reality show person, and
Huge,
I'm
huge.
I'm like allergic to reality TV.
Me
but
too.
I really like this show, and I'm gonna tell you why. I actually always fast forward the drama parts, but I love the houses. Like you just
Well,
see
yeah,
the
they're
house, you're like,
amazing.
Yeah.
what? And the outfits, I'm like, listen, I
But I
know
think,
damn well
yeah.
you're not
Even
going to sell
the
this
way
house
they
for a
directed
6-inch
the
ponytail.
show and
but-
stuff, like the way they have like 4 hot girls, like it's just like it's perfect. It works. It could be reality
LA.
TV. It could be people who
It doesn't
like
matter
real
as long as it's
estate.
good and it's entertaining. Then we're good.
Yeah.
But so I was like, she's like, "Fuck off, you're lying," and I literally like showed her screenshots of my emails with the agent, and she's like, "Oh, that's so cool." And then like I saw her at the gym. She works
That's
out at my
so
gym,
crazy.
and like there's like I don't care for actors and stuff like that. Like I love movies and stuff, but like it's very hard to actually impress me. I'm not impressed by much. Even my own achievements, or like if someone's like, "Oh, this guy's a billionaire," I'm like, I don't give a fuck if he's a billionaire. Like I'm not impressed. But it's fun. Like I'm at the gym and Will Ferrell is on the fucking treadmill in front of me, and what's her name? Like Gal Gadot, the Wonder Woman girl, and I'm just like, yo, this is so crazy that I'm like doing my morning workout and there's like people I've been watching on TV for years like next to me, and
Yeah.
they're like,
Oh my
they're
God.
nice.
You're
Like,
scaring
How
me.
do you
I would
work
never
out
go.
like that?
I would never go to the gym.
Oh, and I'm like a fat slob, you know, compared to all these California dudes. First of all, that particular gym, 90% of the guys are gay and they're just jacked and like all perfectly done. I go there looking like
You're
a
like,
slob.
where's the 5-pound rack?
Yeah, I'm like, I do not belong to at this gym. It's like, but I go because it's just a vibe. Plus,
Yeah.
you're working out, you're on the treadmill, and you got the view of the hills, and you got all
What's
this.
it like though? Do you feel like you've learned? I feel like a lot of people go to LA and they get almost like poisoned by
They
this.
do.
Like,
They do. LA is not for a weak person. If you're weak, you go to LA and you get sucked into the life. You're doing blow all day, all night. You're at the after parties because people don't stay at the clubs too late. They go to the after parties in the hills, and you get sucked into the scene big time. Like especially when you're just like a young insecure girl and you go there with big dreams.
Right.
Like I've seen girls who I know girls who were serious, wanted to become actress, whatever it is, and 3 months later I see them and they've lost 30 pounds, their face is sunk in, they're partying every night, and I'm just like,
crazy.
it's like, yeah, I'm over that stuff. So like when I go there, I'm literally in bed at 11 o'clock.
Right.
I'm up at 6. I'm walking. I'm running. I'm at the gym. I'm doing my meetings. I'm doing my stuff. Like, I'm not there to party. It's fun. I do it every now and then. But I'm down for like a nice dinner. Like, bring me to Nobu Malibu. Let me have a nice cocktail and some sushi, and then let me be asleep.
You're in LA. You should be making the most of your opportunities. Like these people who go and they get sucked into the partying. It's like, I feel like it's great, and it's great to learn. And I'm sure
networking,
you network. You know,
it's amazing.
You get networking by partying, but at the end of the day, you only can grow so much. And I feel like a lot of people just go and they just get sucked into this like lifestyle, and everything is so fake, and people lose like their true. Like, I love that we're speaking to you and you're so like
real.
Like, I don't feel authentic. Like I would be like, you know what I mean? Like, you're so authentic, and I think that's important. I feel like people go to LA and they lose their authenticity.
They do, and I just don't have anything to prove to anyone. Like, I'm not trying to be cool or popular. I'm just here living my life, and if people want to watch the journey, come hang out with me. If people want to unfollow me, go for it. Like, I don't care. I'm not doing anything for views. I'm not doing anything for coolness. That's why, like, I don't go to LA to say, oh, I'm in LA living the dream, you know? Right. No, I do things that are great and that people would wish they could do, and that they will do eventually. Yeah. But I'm not there to show off.
Yeah.
Like, the one time I went to LA in a club in the last 3 years was like 2 summers ago, and I just went to surprise my buddy for his birthday because he had heard stories of the old Andy Manaras in the club days, which was nuts, like a nutcase. And like, I remember I'm on the phone with him, and he's like, yo, just come, man. He's like, your hotel is literally down the street, just come. And I like tap on his shoulder, and I'm there while we're on the phone. He's begging me to come. I'm like, I'm here, bitch. So we go into the club, and they have like a table and everything, and it's just like, I saw these like LA dudes that were there, like just like these super rich guys with their dad's credit card, and that's fine, but they're like, these guys had like no spine. They were just there to show their bottle of Don Julio, and like, you could tell that these guys weird. You could like tell that whole, I like with one sentence I can ruin this guy's life just with a sentence, you know?
You're ugly.
Like I saw like no substance with a lot of these guys at the clubs. That's not in LA, but I'm just like, the guys that your typical LA club guy, like, there's no substance, there's nothing there. Like, I couldn't get along with it. So I'm like, boys, let's get out of this table area. Let's go to the bar part of the club. It was my friend's birthday, so I bought him a bottle of like Don Julio, and the waitress, the table bar, the bottle service girl.
Yeah.
She's like, okay, wow. She's like, oh shit, that's the first bottle of Don Julio of the night. She's like, I'm gonna bring you the fireworks, and we're gonna do the whole thing. I'm like, no fucking fireworks. I was like, don't bring me mixers, don't bring me anything. Bring me the bottle and my bill, quietly under the table. I don't want anyone. I'm not here for everyone. I'm here to have drinks with my friend. And that's what we did. And then she was like, who are you? She's like, you're not from LA, are you?
And where are you from?
Yeah. She's like, you're not from LA, are you? I'm like, no, I'm from Canada. She's like, yeah, I can see that. Anyway, so I left the club. I was like, okay, boys, like, have a good night. Happy birthday. I left, and that night, there was homeless dudes outside the club. And I was about to give them each some money, but I didn't have enough cash. I was like, you guys hungry? And they're like, yeah. And these were like I'm like a 5'7" like white kid. These were like old LA hardened homeless dudes, like intimidating if you're walking by them at 2 a.m. They're like, yeah, we're hungry. I was like, all right, we're going to Mel's Diner for dinner. They're like, are you serious? I'm like, yeah, follow me. So it's me walking with these guys, with these homeless dudes. They got their garbage bags. They got their whole lives with them.
Okay, makes sense. I get how you made friends.
Those are my homies. We went to Mel's Diner, and I'm like, okay, guys, order everything you want. I don't care if you want to take it home for breakfast. They literally ordered, like, we filled up almost 2 full tables of food. Aww. Then I was like, yeah, I got to go to the bathroom. Went to the bathroom, paid the bill, and left because I was over it. I didn't want to be with them because they were intense. And that was it. It's like, but LA, like, I don't do that regularly. But literally, I had more fun with the homeless guys than I did at the club. It was because they were actually like real people.
Right.
They made some mistakes along the way, but everyone has.
Right.
But I had more fun with them because they were more pure. They were just real. You could actually have a conversation with them. They weren't only talking about fucking Balenciagas and Rolexes and cars and shopping. Like, I love all those things. All those things are cool. But if I don't have them tomorrow, I don't give a shit. That's not what makes me me. It's not what makes me happy. I've had it all and I've lost it all. Like, I've almost gone bankrupt. I've lost so much money.
How did you like when you were losing so much money, how did you kind of like spike back up? Like, did you deep down, you knew you would make the money again?
I always know I'll be fine. Okay. That's my thing, is like, I could be like rock bottom one month. Like, I can have like $78 in my bank account, and in 30 days I have to pay my bills for the month that are 30 grand, and I have to figure out how to make some money. Like it doesn't always happen, but it has happened.
Yeah.
And you just.
But they say you grind the most and you hustle the most when you're like under pressure. Like like
you have no choice.
You have
it's
no
do
choice.
Or die.
So
it's the only way I could live, pretty much. Like if I'm too comfortable, I get destructive. So I always need something. Like I always
keep you on the edge.
A little bit of that stress to keep me on the edge, because that's what motivates me. Because I'm not lazy, but I'm not like, I can't work 10 hours a day. I can't fucking do the hustle and grind that like so many people do. I don't know how they do it. I wish I could, but like I can't. But no, things always work out. I just like I don't care if I have to sell something to make a little bit of money.
Why you are successful. I feel like a lot of people put so much pressure on trying to get there, on like when you actually just go with the flow and like kind of leave it to the universe. I feel like that's when you, okay, look, I'm not saying like just sit on your couch and leave it to the universe, but
just
like,
sit down and manifest it and it will come.
When you're calm and you're not like, and you're not, because they say when you're always focused on something and you're trying to get it and you're trying to get it and you kind of don't like let it go, that's when it becomes like, it's harder.
A burden almost.
Yeah, it's a burden.
Yeah, and I noticed that like, let's say I'm stuck on something and it's like stressing me out and I just can't find the solution. I can't make it work. I drop it completely. I'm like, you know what? Let's revisit this in 2 days. And I'm going to do for the next 2 days.
So easy.
For the next 2 days, I am not working. I'm not opening my laptop, my email. I'm going to either go travel somewhere. If I can't travel, I'm just going to go drive, go in nature, do something different, and just not think about whatever it is I need to be doing.
But how do you do that? How do you not think about something that's like, is there like, do you have special techniques or you just kind of just
distraction techniques?
I guess it look, if it depends on how important it is. Like if it's a business move for me, there's always time and whatever. But if it's something financial where if you don't do something tomorrow, you're bankrupt, like you have to figure your shit out. Like you can't just forget about it for 2 days. But like in most other instances, like people they're more stressed than they should be, I find, and they never take a step back. That's the thing that, like, I mentor and I help a lot of people, and I'm like, just take a fucking breather. Like, stop. One of my friends, she was like, she's constantly grinding, she's hustling, she's doing well and everything, but I can just tell by watching her stories that she's fucking stressed. She's dying inside almost. Like, you need a break. And I told her, you need a break, and she stopped for a week. She didn't fucking touch her TikTok, she didn't touch her Instagram because she was big on all of those platforms. She didn't touch her business, and she just chilled. And she said it was the best thing that she ever did. She says like she was so fired up when she went back to it. So many new ideas, so much more vision, because if you're constantly grinding and stressing and this and that, you have no time for creativity.
Right.
Yeah.
You're constantly just trying to get out of the water. But when you just take a step back, watch a different movie or do something you wouldn't normally do, like ideas come to you, and you see what other people are doing, and your brain is not going at 1,000 miles an hour. It's rested, so it can absorb and allow new things to come in.
And it comes more authentically.
Exactly,
through,
it just
and it
comes
shows
to.
in the way that in the products that you know, like the content you create. It's like you're not forcing content. Like that's a lot of people getting stuck into whatever they're in. They start forcing their creativity, start forcing their work, start forcing everything because you have to work, but if you don't step back and like really like just let it come to you and take a breath and step away, that's where like the best things come from. That's where 100%. The best ideas come from. That's where your best work comes from, because it's not forced. Like it's a lot like going to a job every day, going to a creative job every day, and you have to go and clock in and be creative. Yeah. That's not how creativity works.
Yeah. No, it's hard to do it like that.
You don't clock in creativity.
No,
it
just comes to you. You have to allow it to come to you. And
exactly.
like I'm a person who's like addicted to my phone. Like I'm just always on my phone.
I think that's just our generation.
It's our generation.
Social
We're all like
yesterday,
this. Like I'm
always
always on my phone and stuff like that. So in the last few years, I've noticed like the best ideas come to me when this is nowhere near me. And when does that happen? When I'm getting a massage and when I'm on a plane. That shit, the creativity just flows. So I don't know what this is part of like this.
What kind of
this
massage?
Is part of the government's plan to just make us zombies. I'm one of them, but it works. Like when you put that away for a little bit, and you just have time to, like,
and you just get like a
think.
massage.
And you get a massage, not a hand job massage. We get professional ones. Okay.
There's professional.
We go to hotels. We go to nice hotels for massages. Okay. We don't go to fucking, I don't know.
Okay, so do you have any tips for anybody who's like working a 9-to-5 job and wants to start a business but doesn't know where exactly to start? Like, would you give them what would you give like advice,
like best tip?
Okay, so look,
we're also taking notes.
there are 168 hours in a week. Okay.
There is.
A 9-to-5 is 40 hours. Okay. So 168 minus 40, 128. Okay. Mm-hmm. Now you have 128 hours. Let's say you don't need 8 hours of sleep. 5-6, if you're hustling, you can do it with 5-6. So what's 5 hours of sleep every night? 5 times 7. 35.
35.
Okay.
Do not look at me for quick math.
40 plus 35. So 40 hours work
Did
plus
this just become
35.
a math question?
Yes. So look, 40, but listen to me. 40 hours of work with 35 hours of sleep
Yeah.
is 75 hours. Now you have 168 hours in a week minus the 75 hours of sleep and your job. Mm-hmm. That's the time that you have to do your side hustle. It is more than enough time.
Right.
Like if you're done at 5 p.m., have dinner, whatever, let's say from 7 till midnight every night, 5 hours, you're working on your side hustle, you're going to kill it.
Yeah.
But nobody does that. And I don't blame them. It's very hard when you're in the 9-to-5. You want to just shut the fuck down. You want to put on Netflix and just get away and escape. Yeah. Right? So like the weekly escape is this. Netflix is the same as alcohol. It's an escape. You do it to go and immerse yourself in someone else's world and forget about your own world.
Right.
It's a drug. It's meant to keep us in the loop. Right. Drugs, alcohol, sugar, television, it's all to keep us sedated.
That's why it's so important that you work on something that like you are passionate about, so that, you know, like you leave your job and you're like, even this podcast, for example, okay? Like I have my job, she has her job, but like we actually see this podcast going somewhere, and I feel like it motivates us now. Like I finished my job and I'm like, oh, like I know eventually we'll get there. You know, it might take 3 years, it might take 5 years, but if you're consistent at something, like eventually something's gonna happen.
Oh,
you know,
100%.
There's the people that they like something just happens right away and it just takes off for them. Justin Bieber, for example, whatever, it just took off for him. But like realistically, that's not what happens for most people.
Those are one in a billion.
Yeah.
Yeah, like, and like, let's say like for the podcast or whatever. So you do that after work and you love to do it. It's fun. The content is great. And
it makes you look forward to something other than your work. You're like, okay, like I'm looking forward to something other than my 9-to-5 job, which I'm hoping eventually, you know what I mean? I'm not going to be there.
Yeah. And that's the thing is a 9-to-5, like some people, they love it and that's great. No problem. But for the people that hate it, which is a lot of people, it should be temporary until they're ready for something else, or that they should be working on something else on the side. Like it's 2020. There's so much opportunity. There so much things you can do on the internet. You can help people. There's like access to everything. So might as well. But something I wanted to touch base on is, so you do the podcast and there's a lot of people who like to start either podcasts or YouTube videos or new Instagram accounts. But I feel like with you girls, like it's so fun for you. Like it's great. And you're not necessarily focused on the views, let's say. Whereas most people, they'll throw in one podcast or one YouTube video and they get 38 views and they're like, never again.
Yeah.
Those people are lucky who got those views. I'm like, no. Because the way you get views on, let's say, YouTube, have to be consistent.
Yeah.
You have to, like, YouTube's algorithm, after a few months of consistency, like if the algorithm knows that every Monday you put out a new video once a week, it'll take time. But 6 months later, you're going to start getting on people's Explore page and things will move. But because the algorithm wants to know you're serious. If they're going to help you, your channel, they want to know you're serious. They don't care if you're going to put out content once a month. You're not helping them with their ads and making money and everything. So it's like, you got to go and be fucking consistent, nonstop. Doesn't matter who's commenting, what the views are, just go. And then things will get better. But it's like that in any business.
With anything in life. Yeah, exactly.
Everyone quits before anything can even get good.
It sucks because most people quit right before it's about to pop off. And that's what's like so like, you know, you try something for so long and you're like, hey, when is it going to... But if you just enjoy it, it'll...
I also think like something so important that translates in anything is also authenticity. And like you were saying, like like you're saying that we don't think about the views, and it's like it comes off in the way that we make content. It comes off, you can tell when somebody loves what they're doing, and you can tell the difference between somebody doing it because they're begging for views or they're begging for it to succeed. There's a different kind of energy there. And I think being authentic, and that's why if you're going to pursue something on the side, choosing something that you actually love to do and you have a passion for is going to make your content authentic. Yeah. It's going to make whatever you do authentic, and people they can sense authenticity.
When I saw that you guys were doing this,
even on Instagram, when I see like you post or whatever your stories, I'm like, wow, this guy is so authentic. And I feel like that's why people like you. That's why people message you, because they feel like, wow, he's such a relatable guy. He's been through his stuff, but like, let me ask him for advice. Like, if you came off a certain way on your Instagram and you didn't joke around and you didn't like show your actual character, people would feel scared, or like they wouldn't reach out. They wouldn't know.
People want real.
Yeah.
There's so much fake out there.
Yeah. And
they just want real people to watch and to talk to. They like, yes, people care. They like to hear about how you got successful and what your successes are. But what they really like is the journey there. How did you fail? What did you do? Like, how can I avoid what you're doing? You know, like that's what they want to know.
I like podcasts because you can tell the people that are real and actually have like a personality.
Yeah.
Like, you can't fake a personality on a podcast.
No.
You just can't. You don't know what's coming. You don't know what question is coming. You have to be real. And I think that's what's so awesome about podcasts. That's why I love listening to podcasts. Yeah. And I wanted to ask you, what would be kind of so random off topic, but what would be like the biggest lesson that you've learned that you feel like, you know, it really taught you something that you could share and maybe help somebody else give insight on or something?
It was getting sucked into the wheel of just going with the motions. When I got successful and I started making a little bit of money, I let that get to me. I didn't care necessarily about anyone around me. I don't think like I was trying to impress people without, like, my goal wasn't to impress people, but subconsciously, like, my ego wanted to. Like, I wanted a different car for every day of the week to say that I could and whatever. I was never an asshole. I was always nice to people, but I think at one point it just kind of happened where I started doing things not even for myself, just for just to maintain this image that people had of me. Like, I remember one time, like, I things were going down and I had to sell some cars, and I was driving like a $200,000 car, and my accountant was like, no, you need to downgrade. I was like, fuck, what are people gonna think of me? Like, I just went from like a crazy sick car to this normal car that anyone else can drive. Like, my ego took a bruising back then. If you told me that now, I wouldn't give a fuck. I'd be like, yo, I'm driving a Prius because that's gonna allow me to fucking own the brand Toyota later on, you know?
Yeah. Right.
Like, I don't care. But back then it was hard for me. I was like, oh shit, this is a little bit scary. Right. So for me, it was like, don't get sucked into the life. Like, don't
that's a good piece of
don't
advice.
do anything to impress other people. Impress yourself. Like, be proud of who you are. Impress yourself. Don't do it for a girl. Don't do it for a guy. Don't do it for anyone. Your parents. Like, it's for you. Like, do what makes you happy, and don't drink every night. I made a lot of mistakes while drinking.
Guys, tip 1 to be successful: if you're fucking drinking every night, you are not gonna get there.
Yeah. So I'll tell you, like, I went from being a little bit more egotistical to being super grounded and a lot more in tune with myself and spiritually, and that's just like, that's the way. Like, even so, like, after I came back from LA to quarantine in March, I came back to Montreal. I kind of just took that as an opportunity to chill out for a bit. Didn't do anything, didn't even work, was just doing my thing. But as I was doing that, I was eating not as well. I wasn't training. I was buying random things just because I was bored and whatever. And then like 8 months later, I was still in that loop until last month. And I kind of woke up one morning. I was like, no, we don't like this. We gained some weight. We don't look good. We don't feel good. New ideas haven't come in months. Let's change this up. Now, 2 years ago, when I was in LA for 6 months, I went vegan. So I was like 99% plant-based. I had some sushi a little bit, but when I did plant-based, I was training twice a day, no alcohol, no sugar, nothing. Holy shit, was I like clear. I was on another level. Like, my chakras were aligned. The shit, like, I everything I wanted, everything I was thinking was happening. Like it was coming to life. And that's when I started learning about energy and how insane and powerful energy is and spirituality is. And that's like, I've been on that now for a month. I got back to training. So I'm at the gym now 2-3 times a week. I'm eating super, super clean. I'm getting lean and my mind is back to being sharp. And literally like it takes a couple of weeks to get back into a routine to like until it works. And as soon as that 3 weeks hit, man, like the ideas and everything came back. It was like I was my true self again. So it's like try to like have a clear mind, because for me the best ideas and the most successes always came from having a super clear mind, body, and soul. When those are aligned, when your mind and your gut are aligned and making decisions together, not against each other like everyone else, that's when shit starts working out for you. So it's like,
so step 2, healthy living, healthy mindset, gym.
Yes, but it's okay to get drunk every now and then or whatever. Like look, I've been getting high like fucking so much during quarantine, and I never smoked weed when I like ever until quarantine, but like I needed something to like mellow me out, because like I don't want to be hungover, I don't want to drink. So I was doing that. Like we all have our vices, and that's completely fine. Like you know,
I think every once in a while you almost have to give in to your vices.
Oh, 100%.
I think every time you bounce, at least for me and for most people that I know, when you bounce back, it's almost like you're bouncing back stronger.
Yeah.
It's like you find that motivation again, and you just come back and you're like even more motivated. You're even more ready to take on what's coming.
Yeah. Like last night I had a salad, or no, I had some fish or something for dinner, but it was like this big. It was a tartare. It was tiny. And I was like, it was like 11 o'clock and all I wanted was a juicy cheeseburger. I was on Uber Eats about to order McDonald's, you know, and I was like, no, fuck no, I'm not doing this. I'm not doing this. It's going to poison me. But yes, it is like, I will do that eventually. Yeah. Have something to just do that reset and whatever, and then come back the next day stronger. Because if you do resist it for too long, then when you relapse or whatever,
it's gonna be way worse.
It's gonna be horrible.
Yeah, or even if you live like an 80-20 life, where you're
exactly.
like
80%
moderation.
That's like my brother.
Yeah,
he's like that. I'm like 99% one way and then 1% a little bit, which is still a bit destructive. I'm learning how to get better at that.
Yeah.
But
I wanted to say one more. So like during this pandemic, do you find there's anything that's like helped you, or like for anybody who like thinks that the world is dying and we're all dying, like do you have any tips for people like now where a lot more people are
staying
home
motivated
and working on themselves, like to do?
Don't worry about the media. Don't watch CNN. Don't watch Fox. Delete anyone who is super political and intense with COVID off your Instagram. At the end of the day, and this might piss a lot of people off, it's a cold that is marketed to be deadly so that governments all over the world can do what their plans are, whatever. Like it's a fucking cold. It is proven. Like a cold during flu season, anyone with a low immune system, they're going to get sick. Like, so older people and whatever, stay home. But 99.9% of people are surviving, and that's fine. Give me COVID. I'll take it. I'll get sick, whether it's very sick or a little bit sick, I'll be fine most likely, and so will the whole world. Even if I perish from it, the whole world should be fine based off these percentages. So it's like, there's no reason why people's restaurants and companies and businesses should be going bankrupt their whole lives, that they've worked so fucking long, so hard to, you know, people have moved from fucking all over the world, immigrants, to come here to put their kids through school, and it's all garbage now. It's like all these people are really on the street. Yeah. It's horrible. So don't worry about COVID.
But any tips for people like that who have restaurants, who are struggling? I know we're running out of battery.
So look, for the tips, it's gonna be okay. Things are gonna get back to normal. If your restaurant is going bankrupt, let it go bankrupt. Don't go into your pockets and start using your savings, because you're not gonna win. You're gonna really lose everything. Take the loss. The government hopefully maybe will help you out later on, but that's all you can do. Like things that are out of your control right now, it sucks. And it's like, try to figure out how to sell online. Try to like it now.
Adapt.
The tips is how to adapt to this.
Yeah.
You see that if something like this happens, the power of the internet. Yeah. You can make a lot of money. Yeah. There are people making millions of dollars a day. There are fucking 7-year-olds dancing on TikTok making 50 grand per post. Okay. 7-year-olds. If a 7-year-old can do it, why can't you? And everyone will come up with a list of a million excuses. If you want to do it, you can fucking do it. Like, that's what I say. Like, do you want it or do you not want to do it? Like,
stop drinking, eat well, healthy mindset.
Dance on TikTok.
Dance on TikTok. Find your passion.
TikTok actually, like, at the beginning of quarantine, TikTok was lit. That was on that all day long.
Oh my God. Let me tell you what fucking app boomed on COVID. Crazy.
Yeah, should have invested in that.
Anyway, any last words? Any last piece of advice?
I feel like there's so much more to say. So part 2 is going to come out in probably 6 months. And I can't wait to come back and be on the show again. It was great chatting you up.
It was lovely.
It was so nice having you. Thanks for sharing.
Educated.
Thank you for having me. It was fun. I can talk all night.
Us too. That's why we have a podcast.
Yeah.
Before we sign off, I just want to say shout out to our sponsor, Neonific. And if you use our discount code ChemicalX at checkout, you get 10% off. So check them out. And thank you so much, Andy.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.